Character is not something you're born with, it is something you forge in the fires of experience. Today, what we're going to talk about is character. We've been studying for quite a long time. We've listened to many people, and been through many courses. We've done many courses, and if we fail somewhere to build the character, then I think all we've done so far will go down the toilet, right? So we must be working a lot on building characters because people are known for the characters, not for the things they possess, right? It's been my experience, and whatever I've read about people, I've just come to this conclusion that people's character is more important than what they possess, right? So this is something we are going to talk about. Robin, before we start involving ourselves in this conversation, I want you to say something about the topic we are going to discuss, then we'll be diving deep into it.
Okay, good evening and good evening to everyone. So today's topic is crafting character, and this topic is really uh, is going to be very impactful in many ways for many people uh, because we need, at this point of time, a certain guidance that could be really helpful to nurture our overall character because it's our character that reflects our personality and it's all a play of personality, to be very honest, even if you are in the business world or in the world of entertainment. All it requires that one must be possessing this very fascinating character that it could easily arrest people. And in fact, many successful people do possess this very character. It's not just their personality, but the entire character that reflects through their words, through their ideas, the way they see the world around them is all, you can say, the components or the constituents of good character, right? So all these we will try to cover in this one video. And I assure you, I mean, to this audience, that once you go through this entire video, you will learn a lot of microscopic things which you haven't understood, or maybe you have gone through, come across, but you haven't absorbed that in the way you should have. Today, we will try to make this video very simple and easily accessible to all the people, irrespective of their grounds of education, their overall understanding, where they stand. Because our only purpose is to just make the discussion easily understandable and absorbable by all section of people. Otherwise, our overall purpose of creating this video probably is not going to be fulfilled, right? So let's begin with this today's video. Over to you.
And we also want to add value to people, because if the people listen to this conversation, they should be getting something out of it.
Right.
Otherwise their time will be wasted, right? So the first thing we want to talk about is, how can practicing simplicity be the first step towards refining the self? I know, you also know that even though people are leading luxurious life, but somewhere they find that nothing is satisfying
Right.
their inner core, right? That is important because if you have amassed a lot of wealth, but you are not feeling at ease, then I think the whole thing is going to be a kind of, means you have wasted the whole of your life,
Right.
right? So I remember, one story which I was reading. So the story goes like this. It is all about the life of Alexander. You must be knowing that, right? Alexander III. And actually, he had conquered many territories, and he was about to come to India, and he knew a lot about one personality and a sage whose name was Dandini, right? He wanted to have some discourse on philosophy with that
Right.
sage. So he sent his messengers to call Dandini to have a philosophical conversation with him. So then the messenger reached him, the sage refused to go to have the conversation on philosophy with him. So the messenger went back to him and reported the whole incident to the emperor. And then Alexander got very furious because he knew that he was the king, he was the emperor, and how dare the sage refused to have the conversation with him. So he then ordered his one of the messengers that go ask him. If he doesn't come, then he will be beheaded. I mean, his
Hmm.
head will be chopped off, right? So then again the messenger went to him and then said that the emperor is willing to have you, with him for the philosophical conversation. Then he said, no, I'm not willing to come. Come watch me. I don't really care for the results. Then then Alexander got very furious, and then he said that I will now go and teach him a lesson. He went there. As he entered the jungle, he kind of became very different kind of personality, because he could experience that and that that different environment over there, because of the kind of meditation the sage was doing for quite a long time. And then as he reached there, but when he found that this man refused to come to him, then he got furious again, and then he said that, now you have, why did you refuse? I also sent you the gifts, then you refused all those gifts. Then he said that all those gifts were smeared in blood. You have you have killed many people, and you want to have the conversation with me. Then I will not be getting ready to have this with you. Then he said that, do you know who am I? I'm the conqueror of this whole world, and you are refusing me this. Then he said that, why are you doing all this? You know that you have killed countless lives, and then you call yourself to be the emperor. You said that this land belongs to you because you have conquered it, but before it, many people came and claimed this land, and after you, there will be many people who will be claiming the same land. Who do you think you are doing this for? Then he realized. He went back without having the conversation, and after 3 months he just died, because his own people mutinied against him. So what I'm trying to say is that no matter how much we have amassed, how much wealth we have amassed, how much we have done in our life, but if we haven't made our life simple, then I think everything is going to be in vain. All our
Right.
efforts will be then drowning the I mean, they will be drowned actually. So if people know how to simplify their lives, I think there will be no regret when they go to sleep. They will be able to put their head on the pillow peacefully, and they will be having no regrets, right, in their lives. So this is what we will be talking, how simplicity can lead a very happy life, and it can refine a person's character. So before I go deeper into it, and after this story, because it was so fascinating that I couldn't help sharing it with you, so I wanted to say something about the same. Then I will also be adding my own part.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm not mincing my words, that I really feel confused, especially with the point I must begin to respond to this question. So, I rather think I should begin with a question to all audience. And trust me, as you listen to this question and do your self research through your own personal understanding, just to know the answer of this, I'm sure you are going to accumulate a lot of understanding about the very question, and why do we say that simple life leads uh, a better formation of a character, or it helps people to develop in all aspects, from physical to psychological, right? So we need to understand this very core point. I mean, without understanding this, we cannot go ahead, because then things going to be very fuzzy for all of us, right? So since we are talking about simplicity, now then the next things may come, that what kind of simplicity we are talking about, because many people, many minds, right?
Yeah.
So some people may think simplicity is just all about carrying oneself with no exaggeration, especially in terms of uh, conducting oneself in life.
Yeah.
Also includes your disposition, right? That has no makeover. It goes to that extent too, also, right? And it is somewhat like using minimal resources, okay, to lead our life. And in this way, people say that yes, we are living a simple lifestyle. But
Yeah.
to a certain extent, I can say this definition is right. This sort of understanding about simplicity is also right and acceptable, because simplicity is all about, dealing with minimum resources for the purpose of surviving on this planet. Only those resources which we think are needful and essential. And in the absence of this, we find really hard to survive, right? But there is something else which could be extended as a part to this definition, and that is your mental perception.
Yeah.
Because simplicity always or also deals with your mental or your psychological, practice, exercise, understanding, right? So all these two things combinedly form this one simplistic figure. Many successful people we have observed many a time that they carry themselves out in a more a simple manner. In fact, I am reminding of one uh, very fantastic, event where Ratan Tata, late Ratan Tata, was asked by a journalist, "Tell me about your favorite word that you love to use over and over again." And you know what Ratan Tata said? That his favorite word is the word simple. So when we learn these things from these successful people, I mean, it's our obviously curiosity that awakens, that we try to find out why people often, strive towards being, simple and simplistic lifestyle. What lies in that? Then, when we try to figure it out and try to dig in more, then we really understand how it could make us and refine our character in such a way that could really be uh, acceptable to all. So, first, we need to understand how simplistic or your simple thought process can make your life robust and very productive. Because as long as you are doing anything in your life, but if you have lost your hold on your constructive aspect, you have missed something bigger in your life, something significant in your life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So this simplicity keeps us connect with this very idea of constructiveness, this very idea of creativity. Because when we deal with those artificial things, which literally consumes a lot of time, which somewhere tells us to make compromises and to do compromises on many things, because these things are really difficult to manage. For example, we have seen girls taking too much time, especially before they go to office. And it's also the same with the boys too these days, doing
Yeah.
work in metro cities, right? So they are standing before the mirror, preening for hours and hours just before they hit the working floor. It consumes a lot of time. Now, when you have sufficient time and you give this time to this unproductive thing, you are actually doing uh, uh, injustice to yourself. That's what many people say. Many people suggest this, right? And in fact, we have life, and this life is almost very limited. And in this limited life, we have a very less number of hours, which we could really utilize it the way we really want it, right? And out of these given hours, which is already limited, you are going to waste it for all these silly things. And what is more ironical in this is that many people do this not for themselves, but for creating a certain impression on people.
Yeah.
And this is what is absolutely injustifiable, which is something which people cannot afford it. A sensible human who has a little sense about life cannot afford it at all. Many businessmen do that, and they practice it in a routine. Sometimes we get astonished a successful person wearing such a simple shirt and t-shirt or jeans or just in a slipper, and we often get like, I mean, out of joy we jump, but we don't understand the logic that they apply behind it, because they know the value of time. They know how yours little sensible in terms of using time could really make your life more better. So we need to be very careful about our time, and being simple, in my words, could be defined as to be sensible towards your time. And when you become sensible towards your time, which means you are uh, dealing it with extra care. You have realized this very fact that your one single second is really worthy, and therefore it should not be wasted for all these unnecessary things which really have no certain significance at all in in any way in this life, right? The second thing which I want to add to this, which is equally important, we often, as I told you, when we talk about what simplistic lifestyle and we need to carry in this and that way, we often confine our ideas, thought process to only resources. The person who uses and consumes less resources for just meeting up with routine requirements can be termed as a simplistic person. We are not even extending this discussion to the part of psychology. In fact, a person who has a simple thought process can easily transact things and can easily view things with all clarity is also the one who can be understood and marked as a simplistic person,
Because
isn't it?
there is no clutter on his mind.
Obviously, he has somewhere reduced all these mental clutters. And how he could do that? Because he has a better, way of dealing with time. I mean, it's not we need to go out and see things around us and absorb things from the people's activities, experience from the others' activities. Sometimes we can treat ourselves as a physical object, and just a little bit introspection on a routine base before we hit the bed can really compile a lot of knowledge about the world itself, because we are itself a universe at the microscopic level if we understand it, right?
Yeah.
So if we are able to organize our thought process, and we can do it without wasting a lot of time, if we can arrange things to us in a more systematic manner, in a more organized manner, don't we think we are making our life so simple, easy living? I don't know, many people take these things as not that much significant to them, but trust me, people who have lived this lifestyle and have conducted in that way throughout their life, I think could be called the most successful person ever lived on this planet. Because at the end of the day, it is our anxiety for future concerns. It is our regret for of past actions or about our past actions. It is what is basically consuming our maximum time. So when you try to be simple, you're actually try to be living in the present moment. And what is the you can say evidence of that you are living in a present is that your thought process is very clear, crystal clear, and there is no murkiness of any kind, as people could, as you could comprehend anything so easily that many people cannot. In fact, if you go to metro cities right now and try to hold a conversation with a boy of 16 or 17 years old, the boy probably, I'm telling my experience, would not be able to comprehend things very easily. Even you put things to them very simple. Why? Because his mind is full of clutters. Mental has been completely beclouded with many, you know, garbage kind of stuff that he cannot clearly see the things around him. Therefore, it becomes very essential. And in fact, many people can say this simplistic lifestyle is the only key to become successful people. Why many people often say that yes, you want to be successful, that only if you want to be successful, you have to be in your present moment. But how we could be in present moment? This is the question that we have to respond.
Yeah.
So once we understand this beauty of the word simple, and not just learn it, but be able to apply this to our life, then I'm sure that with a routine practice, some remarkable changes we can see. In fact, we all become a complete transformed personality, become an inspirational personality for millions and millions of people. Many people have done that, many people are still in progress of doing the same thing with them. So never underestimate the word simple. Make your life simple just by fixing your routine in a more organized manner. And trust me, you are going to get benefits very instantly out of it. Over to you.
Yeah. For example, as you talked about, do you know using the minimal things can make our life very simple. For example, suppose if I want to write about something, right, and I've got too many ideas in my head, I mean they are not in a proper order, then it will be quite difficult for me to organize them because I've already got the clutter in my head.
Right,
Because I've been consuming so many books, I've been consuming so much, content from different sources, and this has now, become a very, and this has become very large, right? This is in a very large amount, and it's quite difficult for me to pick the best one. So
right,
if we really want to simplify our lifestyle, if we really want to feel better, then I think using things in a proper fashion, and
right,
as less as we can, we have to reduce the use of things, and then we will see that our life has become more organized than
right.
before. For example, if you check your whole routine, the daily routine, you'll find that how disorganized we are in our life,
Hmm,
because
hmm,
we have never paid our attention to this particular thing. That's why you might have seen many people or always complain that I don't have time. I don't have time.
right,
The time is there is no time because they have not structured their time. Once
right,
they know how to structure their time, they will feel very organized, and they can easily find out, or they can easily make time for anything they want to. So people must be trying to organize themselves to lead a
right.
very simple life. And simple is not that simple as you just talked about. uh, to know this simplicity, we need to understand, we need to know the real definition of simplicity, right?
Right,
Just by knowing a word doesn't mean that you know it properly, because you've
right,
just gone through the definition. But have you ever put it into practice? Have you ever lived it? If you have
right,
never lived it, only knowing the meaning and definition is not going to help you out.
right.
Right. For example, before this video, no, before creating this video, we were talking about the famous actor Ashutosh Rana, right?
Uh,
Quite a simple personality, you might have seen him, right?
right, right,
And but when he starts talking, when he starts having discourses on different topics, you would then come to know that how philosophical he is, how in-depth knowledge he's got on different
right,
topics. And this could only be possible because he doesn't actually showcase unnecessarily, right? Because there is no point in showcasing the things if there is no need, right? And this is how you can very simple, simplify you can simplify your lifestyle, right? And when you simplify your lifestyle, you've got a lot of time, and then you can easily
right,
work on your goals, because your goals always require you to devote some time to them. And if you somewhere fail to devote that much time, I think the goals will remain a far-fetched dream for you,
hmm,
right? So making simple life is really going to add value to your life. It is going to turn you into a refined personality, and you will then be kind of then you'll become a kind of magnetic personality.
right,
So this is really going to put your life in a very organized fashion. So the
right.
next thing we will be discussing is how does balancing composer in all phases of life make an individual refined character, because there has to be a balance in a life. What we've because we've also lived a lot, a lot of with a lot of people. We have come in contact with many people, and we have worked with many people, and we have also seen different people around us, and we always find that people are living, but they have somewhere lost the balance. Striking a balance between your personal life and professional life, your spiritual life, is also an art, right? So to strike a balance is an art which you need to cultivate, and this can not easily be done. I mean, you need to devote yourself to learning and crafting this particular art, right? Otherwise it will not be possible. So how can this particular art that is called balancing composer in all phases of life can make a life in a very refined character?
Okay, let me be very clear on this point. Since we are talking about trying to balance between two things and also trying to balance our composure, and people might get a little confused on this point, that what when we talk about composure, then is it really possible to even think of balancing oneself under certain uh, adversaries, certain degree of chaos, because it is not in the capacity of human. I'm telling all this from the general point of view, right? Because we human consider ourselves is still subordinate to our emotions, isn't it? Many people do
Yeah.
that, right? Many people even have uh, absorbed this as a fact, that there are certain circumstances to which we have to be subordinate forever, and we have we tend to lose our control on that particular moments, right?
Yes, yes.
So something which is inevitable, something which is not in our hand, and something which cannot be corrected at all. What is the need of having such discussion, by the way? Therefore, we need to be very clear on this point. When we talk about composure, we are actually dealing with a certain degree of mindset
Mindset,
which
yes.
is unmoved, which is much like a mountain
Yeah.
that keeps thrashing of waves over it again and again, right? But it's still unmoved. That particular mindset I'm talking about, much like an erected mountain, right? Now, maybe it is hyperbole would be considered by many people, because it is just, um, I think, ostentatious representation of one's, ability, which is not really the part of human's ability, because it is not actually that human can do. But trust me, many people came, and many people, conducted in such a way. We learn through their, autobiography or their biography, how they were able to, bring composure and maintain this for their entire life. And they were almost resolute and unflinching under all possible struggles and adversaries. It means there was not a single uh, moment where they felt that they have lost the control on them, right? So when we have these examples, we need to understand why we cannot be the same. So the question that comes in here, that is it possible to have a balance of composure under certain conditions? Then the answer is yes. And there is no if and but in that. It is only a need, or it is only a matter of time and your practice, that you put it in a more dedicated manner, right? Now let's talk about even more, you know, uh, briefly, just for the purpose of making people understand about it, right? So, composure, as we know all, to be living in a sanctified state of mind,
Yeah.
and where no
To
matter
have
what
certain
happens,
kind of equanimity.
equanimity, to be maintaining equipoise, right?
Yeah.
A set of equipoiseness, right?
Even Lord Krishna has also talked about
Many,
sthit
many
prajna,
scriptures,
sthit prajna, right?
many
Being in the same state.
mostly scriptures deal with this very idea of equipoise and sang-froid and composure, because they only find the true happiness lies only in this. I mean, if one can summarize the entire bundle of scriptures, arranging from all segments of religions, then the core message that all this combinedly will be giving and reflecting is that to be living in composure under all adversaries is the only key to happiness. And it is only key to happiness. Why it is so? That's what we have to understand. Because we humans are usually governed by our emotions and impulses. We don't know that most of our decisions are not out of our free will, but our impulses. However, we fail to understand it, we fail to acknowledge it because of this busyness of life. But once we do introspection, we understand it that 90% of our decisions are either taken under certain influence that were created on us by many people around us, or maybe out of our impulses. In both ways, we have certainly failed to apply our intellect. So, if we don't apply our intellect under certain situations where it really need to be applied, then it is only your emotion that is going to govern your decision, that is going to be source of your decision, isn't it? And it
Yeah.
happens with most of the people. So, therefore, many people say this. All those who have, brought up the true uh, guidelines or the laws or the divine laws for leading a successful and healthy life. All these people have to say one thing, that we have to control our emotions. Now they provide you and offer you few things. By following these, we can at least initiate our preparation or our practice of maintaining and balancing our composures under certain uh, unwarranted phase of life. Many people often, because life is always uncertain, full of uncertainties,
Yes.
we don't know what is going to happen to us in the very next moment, and therefore we have to be ready for this inevitability of life,
Yeah.
right? So the thing these scriptures or mostly philosophers offer us is that we need to distinguish two things. First, that there are things which are absolutely not in your control. And these things are often enlisted as events happening out of you, means your external world or in
Yes.
your external world, right? So things that are happening in the external world are absolutely not in your control. We people know this, but couldn't absorb this, because once you absorb this fact, will surely develop a very unique mindset, that we can say a very effective mindset to deal with the situations. And how to deal with the situation? By not interfering or intervening into the matter, because this is absolutely out of the control. And therefore many successful people say, many scriptures guide, that even the happiness that come through your external events should not be taken seriously,
Yeah.
because that happiness is also for transient period, just a momentary happiness. So it is not going to be your lasting happiness, right? So external events that leads to happiness or any sadness, all are passing moments. So this is the nectar of uh, this scriptures, especially on this particular issue. If we able to absorb this and apply this to our life, we can certainly do better things in life and maintain a certain phase of life and manage a certain situations in our life. Many people find it really hard and go succumb to that. So on this point, one point, we are going to be at least well settled and be ready to face this. The second thing where we can do things and where we could uh, I mean, do efforts and that is in our internal world. So something which is in your control is your internal world. Here you can do all possible things. Things are in your control. Means your emotions are in your control. Your impulses are in your control. Your your whims and fancies that are springing out are also in your control. The decisions you are going to make is also in your control. The decisions you are not going to make is also in your control. Everything that is actually springing right from your internal part is all in your control, and that is the thing which has to be driven by you, by your intellect. And once we are able to make a distinction between your external events and the events happening in the internal side of you, we really can do things much better. 70% of our problems will surely be solved just by this small understanding. I mean, let's take an example of how do we behave to a certain events. Do we really behave and counter those out of our intellect, means taking help from our intellect, or it is our impulse which is telling us to react and respond that?
Mostly
And
impulses. We just
mostly
go, yeah, we go, we just react on our impulses.
impulses, 90% of the decisions are usually driven by our impulses. And this becomes the sole reason for our sorrow, because emotional mind and the decisions driven by our impulses cannot offer you a good outcome. It may offer you something which on the surface could be accepted, but doesn't provide you a deeper insight, a deeper knowledge, or a sustainable happiness. So these things, we have to be very careful about, and by distinguishing, I mean, what is in our control and what goes beyond our control, and then managing our routine, our mundane life and tasks, I think could really make our life more composed, neutral into some certain events. Means, I mean, not to be very much uh, affected by any of the events. Okay, irrespective of the gravity of the event, right? So that's how we can manage and balance the composure. Over to you.
We are not less than a wrestler in our everyday life. I
Yeah,
mean, we've got two kinds of fights we fight in our life. One is internal, the other one is external, right? And if we don't care about the external fights and we are no learning to fight our internal fights, I think we can grow more and more strong, right? We can
right,
become stronger and stronger. For example, we don't have any control over people's reactions, but we have control over our reactions, right? And people, you cannot actually believe people that much, because what happens when somebody, suppose somebody says something to me, and if that is very, I should be reacting according to people, then they will say that, oh, yes, you did it well. But if I don't react, they'll say you are a coward. You don't actually fight for yourself, whereas there is no need to give that knee-jerk reaction
right,
at that point of time, because we know that for the time being it will be okay. People will praise you for your bravery and all, and I don't think that this is a kind of bravery, because insulting others and abusing others is not going to be termed as bravery in my view. So we will be getting affected if we listen to people a lot, and people don't actually think according to what is good and what is bad.
right.
They will be prompting you to give a kind of reaction which they want to see, and this can right, this will make you feel very disturbed, because somewhere it is going to disturb your you can say this is going to disturb your mental peace, right? So you don't have to think too much about people's reactions.
Right.
You must be taking it into account that what is good for you and what is going to give you lasting peace, what is going to let you be stay in a very blissful situation, right? And then we are so much worried about what will happen in future.
Right.
That is also going to disturb a composer. So I don't think that we should be no very much worried about the future, because future is just unfolding with every passing day. So as it is said that your past is waste right now wasted, your future is yet to come, and your present is the only thing that you have in your own hand. So
Right.
we should not be too much concerned about the future, that what will happen to you. Because trust me, when you start applying yourself to your job and whatever you're doing, you would find that God will take care of everything, right? Your future is also going to be good, but just because you haven't seen it, you're being very disturbed and very worried about it. This can also take your happiness away from you,
Right.
and you can lose that composer, you can lose that equipoise and equanimity. And the other thing is all the, is that we are so much worried about losing this life. I mean, we also fear death, right? So many things are there
Right.
which can contribute to this fearful kind of situation which you are living in. So if you can believe that even tomorrow is not guaranteed, that is that you'll be going to live tomorrow. So why to
Right.
take so much burden on this mind? Let it
Mm.
be. Let it feel that blissful kind of condition, and you will also be feeling quite light. And this lightness of your brain or your mind will definitely put you at ease. And this is what you can do in order to become happy, and in order not to
Right.
lose your equanimity. And this kind of disposition is going to make you a very nice person and refined personality. So this is what we should be doing, because this is the only thing which we have in our hands. And
Right.
other things you may try, but you cannot change the people,
Right.
you cannot change the world, you cannot change the government, you cannot change other people, right? Because they will be behaving according to their own kind of personality, because they have their own thinking, they have their own behavior. We cannot
Right.
change them. What we can have control over is our own behavior, right?
Right.
The next thing which we have to discuss is, tell me, a good character uses opportunity to attain enlightenment, not wealth. What do you think about it?
Okay, let me first say one interesting thing, and it's well spoken words by Marcus Aurelius himself. He says that stop acting or behaving in a way that you are going to live for another 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this really means a lot. And I mean, these words are adequate for developing at least a thought process of how one should start living in present life without being concerned about future or being regretful about the past conducts, right? So this is truly a nectar, I mean, from him, right? Now we are talking about, you know, the knowledge, and we are talking about enlightenment, right? So knowledge should be accumulated for earning wealth or for attaining some enlightenment. So few things are very common, and I think we humans always apply our rationality or a reasoning because we humans don't believe things. We are doubtful by nature. It is in our genes. Until things are certified or or proved by a certain authority, we cannot take those things seriously, right?
We want validation.
We always need validation, and it's just a nature. That's what we can say. So here it is the evidence that what I'm trying to provide and offer people to come and have a look on it and understand it. Why we need to accumulate knowledge only and only for attaining enlightenment, not wealth. I mean, we can begin this discussion just by throwing our glance over our past experience and the life. We will find that no material wealth has done anything to us in whatsoever manner. It has only made us more curious about more. It has made us more greedy. It has made us more rapacious for more and more wealth. And indirectly, this very habit and conduct has somewhere done a lot of damage to the nearby surroundings, including our environment. So you can consider this wealth accumulation out of your knowledge as a result has only done damage, destruction, and nothing else. It's all okay that we don't want to accept it because we still love to live in this fallacy. See, our body is full of material, it's a composition of material, and therefore it's a physical form and it tends to perish in some or other way or some or other day, right? So it is not going to be with you forever. Your body is going to be old and your beauty is going to be faded. That's all the fact. We all understand this. But there is one part of your body that is your ruling part, and that ruling part is your brain or mind.
Yes.
People who are in a better position to use that intellect in the more rightful manner are those people have lived their life more constructively. They have really done a justification to their life. That's what we can say, or justice to their life. That's what I can say. Because they realize this very early that material wealth can only provide you certain degree of survivability. It can extend your survivability, but it cannot make it permanent.
Yes.
I mean, can our life be permanent forever? Even if we become the most richest person on this planet, probably no. Even we can die. I mean, obviously, I mean, far earlier than a common person dies. Let's take an example of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was almost a narcissistic personality, and he was so rich at times. We all know about it. The
Yeah.
popularity was insane. People would often cry just having seen his face and everything. He was so curious about life. He was so fascinated about his life that he decided one day that he could live more than 100 years, and that was his only desire. And thereafter, he began a very, uh, I don't say, but a funny lifestyle. I mean, today, if I, read
He
about
underwent almost 27 surgeries. He underwent.
yes, the only purpose, that he had in his mind that how he could extend his survivability, how he could extend his existence, he could live more. And he was always surrounded by multiple doctors. He had special physicians for special problems. And look at what happened to him. So when he died, doctors revealed out of his postmortem report that there was number of medications, plenty of medications. In fact, his entire body was a home of medication. He would consume a lot of medication just to ensure that he could live more. So we cannot ensure our life to be sustainable only with the help of money and material wealth. Now the next thing comes, what we are going to do with this ruling part, because we have this intellect and now it's our choice. How do we want to put it in course? Do we want to use this intellect for the purpose of earning wealth, or we want to use it to attain enlightenment? It's our choice. Since we have examples that using intellect for earning wealth, accumulating wealth, or massing or hoarding a lot of money is not going to be any productive for us because it doesn't give us long lasting impact or lasting happiness. It's better to move to the second option, that is to attain enlightenment. And trust me, once we start applying this intellect in the course of attaining enlightenment, this process even begins with a positive note and with positive outcomes because it starts teaching you the reality about life. It starts telling you that you should be capable enough to face the inevitability of life. Otherwise, people living in fallacies these days that they don't want to encounter the realities. They always hesitate to go and have an entry in a particular hospital because they are obviously living in their own dreams or in their own cocoon that they are not going to die. So when you use your intellect, you actually give yourself a scope to meet with the utter, a bare reality of life. And this is really important. And trust me, the best moment in life is when you have ensured your 2 minutes all free from fear and anxiety. And if you can ensure that, I mean, you have lived your entire life in just 2 minutes, isn't it? Because even when we are living this life and we are talking right now, but God knows what is running in our mind, what is the ulterior objective. I'm physically present here, demonstrating this very skill and presenting and projecting a certain thought process on a particular idea. But God knows what is happening in my mind, what kind of concerns are revolving around me, what is there which my mind is still clinging to, right? This is only I know. You know your own part, right? Many people know this on their own part. But are we able to detach ourselves from this extreme of emotions? I think it is impossible, especially with this idea, and especially when we accumulate knowledge and only for investing it for the return of in the form of material wealth, and then it is not going to be possible for. So therefore, many people say this, successful people say this, and scriptures often advocate it very vociferously that we need to accumulate wealth. Sorry, we need to acquire knowledge just to attain enlightenment. Because once you are enlightened, your life in future is going to be in your control, and till the time you live, you will be living all healthy, all free, and you will be able to be a free will too. Because I don't know, as we have talked, are we using our free will or not? Many people don't, but they still think they are using their free will because their decisions are not their decisions, right? So these things must be in consideration. And once we put this in our considerations, there is a better chance. And we can, with these chances, we could really, accumulate knowledge just for the purpose of attaining knowledge, just to gain knowledge so that we could ensure a better version of our life.
And with these words of yours reminds me of one poem. I think it's been written by, I don't know the name of the gentleman, and the poem title is I think its title is Keeping Quiet, which suggests us that we should be taking some time out of our busy schedule, because we
Right.
are so much busy making money, we are so much busy talking about others, that we forget to take some time out from our busy schedules and invest in our spiritual progress, and which aligns you with the supreme force, and which makes you fearless, right? So if we don't invest our time in improving our spiritual journey, then this life is going to be a kind of waste.
Right.
And that's what this poem suggests us, that if we take out some little time, you can say 15 to 30 minutes. I think now people don't have this much time. They just say this, they have got so much time, but they don't really want to involve themselves in such kind of activities. But they find they take out 30 minutes, then they will be able to understand why they are living and what they are living for. Actually, we
Right.
don't know the reason of this life, we don't know the purpose of this life. We have decided different kinds of goals for ourselves, like I've got to make this much money, I've got to become this and that, I've got to have certain people in my life. But what after that? So there has
Right.
to be the end goal in your head. You must be having that end in your mind. And if you don't have that mind, that end in your mind, I think you haven't learned, or you haven't understood the purpose of this life. Because the life's purpose is to finally, and means aligning yourself with that supreme force, which has created you actually. And this, if you invest your time in this particular kind of
Right.
life, then you will realize how important it is, right? So we should be no, we should be trying to separate ourselves from all these kinds of activities, so that we can have some time for ourselves. And when we have time for ourselves, then we realize that we lost the most important person in our life, that is none other
Right.
than ourselves. Because
Right.
it's this body and it's this mind with which we can connect with the supreme force. No other person can help us connect us with that supreme force. For example, even a guru sitting by me, but if I don't apply my mind, if I don't apply myself to this particular and the kind of practices he is teaching me, then it's not
Uh,
possible for me to get there, right? So a person who is truly educated, a person who's truly a good character, always invests in their personal, you can say, spiritual upliftment, I would say. And this the kind of education we are receiving is just to help us survive, right? But
right.
this is not our ultimate goal, actually.
Right. Right. Right.
People may have the different goals, but this is not actually the ultimate goal, because we are not going to be here forever. This is also this is a very harsh reality, a bitter truth, but truth. You cannot adopt that ostrich policy that you will be burying your head in the sand, thinking the enemy is not there. If you
Right.
turn your face away from the reality, reality will not go away. It will be there, right? So we are not going to be here forever. Then why are we not investing in that enlightenment? Because that's the most important thing there is. And that is the only thing which will give you ultimate and lasting peace. And that should be the only goal of a person, right? So the next thing which we have to discuss is how does a good character utilize the present time without being affected by the inevitability of future concerns?
So the answer lies in the second response to the second question, by being composure and by practicing uh, equanimity and by practicing neutrality, by practicing not being moved under any circumstances, irrespective of its gravity. If we are able to do so, or even we can do it, the minimal percentage of it, then it's a probability that we can really, you know, be all okay to embrace uh, any form of inevitability of life. I mean, we can also understand this by accepting the bitter reality of life, because no one has this gumption or audacity to accept the reality such as that one day we have to die, reality that diseases are almost inevitable, and death almost hovering us or hovering over us. I mean, business loss or any close person, the loss of a close person are all inevitable. All it requires is that a proper absorption of it as a true fact, because we are just away uh, by uh, only an inch, and we can do that by accepting those facts. And how we can accept those facts? By building up uh, our attitude. That's what I can say. And how we could build up this attitude? By engrossing ourselves into a rightful practice of life, by actually detaching ourselves from the material wealth and moving ourselves into more uh, spiritualistic lifestyle. That doesn't mean that we have to completely abandon the material wealth. We have to use it to the point of our need, but we cannot be thoroughly uh, uh, engrossed, especially in acquiring wealth, because it really takes a lot of time, consumes a lot of time, right? Many people realize this fact in life after they have lost everything. Many people who are sensible understand the reality of life even in their early age, and it requires only a practice a bit. And it's very common with the spiritualistic mindsets. We don't say that more all are spiritualistic minds or all saints are all highly evolved minds. I don't say that because many of them are imposters.
Yes.
They just uh, project their spiritualistic version to hoard mass or to accumulate mass. So this is another way of earning wealth. I'm not including, this section of people in the list. I'm including those highly evolved minds, noble minds, people. And this is what reflects through their, overall conduct. Premanand Maharaj is one of those living examples we have. Many other examples we have right now. I'm not telling that only saints have this capacity to lay down a certain foundational knowledge to all people so that we could follow them. People like us living in a family also have equal potential and power to display such a conduct as mainly highly elevated saints do, because they can do it as what Lord Sri Krishna says, that you continue your work, keep engrossing yourself in the work, even when you are a family member, when you have a responsibility on your shoulders towards your family members, but you are doing it with one thought process, that you are doing it for the sake of doing, which means you are
And you're
not
not
going.
attaching yourself with
Yes,
all those, karmas
yes,
and
you are not.
outcomes.
Yes, because once you attach yourself with the karmas, you have to be ready for the consequences of it.
Yeah.
Consequences could be, uh, I mean, positive or negative. So it is going to be uh, in your account in that way. But once you detach yourself from the karma, you are no longer attached to the you are no longer attached to the especially action, right? So in this way, we can really practice, and we can ensure I mean a meaningful life. A life without any meaning, I think, is all a waste life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how we can make it meaningful, purposeful, just by applying our intellect and by letting our impulses down with the help of our intellect. And if we can do that, we really can uh, live a very healthy lifestyle. So it's not about that you are going to live a very successful life. Maybe in many eyes, you may not be successful. And really, people who have attained their highest in their life really don't care about the societies and their personal, you know, uh, perceptions about them. The true successful person is one who has learned to live the life in himself and has no personal uh, attachment to other person's feeling. Whatever they think, whatever they have an idea about, they don't care about it, right? So in this way, we can may be at least justice to oneself or ourselves, and I think that will be the a kind of winning for us. That's what I can say, because we are not telling that we have to be successful, we have to do, and we have to reach to that very highest point of spiritualism. I'm not telling about it, because that will be all out of scope. What I'm telling is that, are you able to make your life meaningful, purposeful? And if you can, then you have lived your life more, I think, satisfactorily. That's what I can say.
And there is one quote that if you can do something today, you can improve all your tomorrows, right?
Yeah.
So we have this only opportunity. I mean, tomorrow, present is the only opportunity we have in our hands. If we don't invest in present, then no. bangos our chances of leading a very happy life in future. We cannot actually do justice to this life. You might have heard, you might have seen many people, they go to the astrologers for foretelling their future. So as the good things are being told by the fortune teller, they are quite happy. But when something bad comes, they are not at all going to accept it,
Mm.
because nobody thinks that they would ever experience anything bad
Right.
happening to them in their life. But this is what we need to face. I'm just coming to the point. We always talk about we always talk about letting go of things. We always talk about letting go of people. We
Mm.
always talk about not to be too much materialistic, right? And we always talk about and devoting everything we do to the
Mm.
lotus feet of God, right? This is what we always talk about. One person wrote to my guru, telling that this is the biggest trick, and old tricks, the these religious people have been using to benefit from, right? But don't we go when we go to the doctor suggests that okay, you can eat fried food, but there is a price to pay, right? If you can eat sugar, but if you're diabetic, then you have to reduce it, right? So this is what the doctor suggests. So the doesn't the doctor suggest a certain steps to be taken in order to remain happy? I mean, in order to stay healthy. Doctor also suggests. So these are the things which are often suggested in order
Right.
to lead a very nice and very happy and very productive life. And if we think that these are just a kind of you know uh, hollow things, they should not be believing it. So this is their own decision. So they should be going with their own decision.
Right.
These things are not being imposed upon them, right? So these are the things which are needed to be done if we want to have a very good life, if we want to
Mm.
invest in our spiritual journey. Otherwise, people have their own decisions. They have their own life. They are the man of their own life. They are the person. No, they are the master of their own life. So they have all the rights to take any kind of decision. But if we don't actually stop devoting ourselves to these things, then we have to devote also to these things. We don't stop being too much materialistic, and we don't stay away from all these things which are going to be a kind of hindrance in our spiritual progress. Then we cannot expect ourselves to reaching
Mm.
that point where we can say that yes, we have lived a very satisfactory life. We will always have complaints, no matter how better life you could have led, but you will always have complaints because
Right.
somewhere you missed. So this is what we had to talk about. And with this, I'm going to wrap it up. And hopefully that the audience must have learned, and they must have got certain things from this podcast, that how they can craft a better personality, how can they lead a better lifestyle, and how can
Right.
they be maximizing their chances of reaching a particular heights where they want themselves to be, where they want themselves to see. So
Right.
with this, I'm gonna wrap it up, and we will be meeting in another, nice and insightful podcast. Till then, take care.
Right. Good night.
Good night.